Living in Charleston, South Carolina, the A to Z guide. So you're thinking about moving to Charleston, South Carolina. First off, solid choice. Second, prepare to sweat through your soul and get aggressively waved at by strangers that you have no idea who they are and wonder why everyone owns at least 2 paddle boards and 4 pickleball paddles. I don't know, it's a huge thing here. This is the real A to Z of life in Charleston, not some Chamber of Commerce brochure fluff. This is the good, the bad, and the mosquito-ridden. I'm Ryan McHugh, and I live here with my beautiful wife and our 5 children. I sell homes here, and once I accidentally tried to order a sweet tea back in Buffalo, and well, they kind of looked at me like I was crazy. But if you're here to get all the information about Charleston, go ahead and hit the like button if you don't want to end up in a house with flood insurance that costs more than your car. Yeah, it's a real thing here, guys. All right, let's get after it right now. All right, so let's talk about A is for affordability, folks. Yeah, so Charleston isn't cheap. It's cheaper than New York, and you don't need a snow shovel. So there's that. The suburbs give you a more house for your money kind of scenario, but you have to remember those suburbs are areas like Somerville, Goose Creek, Moncks Corner, Ondaw. So when you start thinking about other places in around Charleston, well, you have to remember they're all going to look different from a budgetary standpoint, but most of the time, the further away from Charleston that you get, the better the house prices are. So just be ready, though, to pay for that Charleston charm, especially if you want to live closer to downtown or closer to the beach. Just don't blow your whole entire budget on an old house with no AC and probably a haunted attic.
I'm scared.
Yeah, that's real life. All right, moving on to B. B is for beaches. No. I said beaches, not beaches. You know, the other beaches. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so Folly Beach is your typical surfing style beach. It has a very beach style feel and look to it. I always tell everybody, I'm like, if you've watched the Outer Banks, then Folly Beach kind of area gives you that same feel. Sullivan's Island is for quiet money. And golf carts. Yeah, lots of golf carts on Sullivan's Island. Now, Isle of Palms is actually where sunscreen and sangria collide. Yeah, so this area, you're right there near Mount Pleasant. You got Isle of Palms, you got the Isle of Palms Beach. I mean, it's a lot of, there are a lot of moms who drink at that beach. I'm just gonna be honest. But you'll quickly learn which beach is your favorite. I mean, personally, I'm a Folly Beach kind of guy. I just like the waves. I'm a boogie boarder, so I like to go boogie boarding a little bit, and those waves are perfect for that. But you're gonna quickly learn which one is your favorite. Now, if you're a local, you know which ones to avoid from May through Labor Day, right? You know what I'm talking about, all the tourism. Oh my God. All right, moving on to C. Yeah, C is for you know what. Just kidding. But no, really. No, guys, really. No, I'm just kidding. All right, coming up right now, we got C. And C, well, C is for Charleston charm. Pastel homes, gas lanterns, and people who use y'all like a punctuation. I mean, let's be honest, there are some very friendly people here, and Charleston just has it. I mean, when you walk downtown, even when you go into Mount Pleasant, Ion, I mean, any of these great neighborhoods, they just have charm. They have those gas lanterns, right? I love a good gas lantern. You give me a house with a gas lantern all day. And people who use y'all. I mean, like, I love it. I've started using it. You know, I'm normally a you guys, you know, because I'm from New York originally. Like, hey, what's up, you guys? Now I'm like, hey, y'all. Because I'm just like, I got to fit in. People got to think I live here. So y'all walk down a cobblestone street and think, no. One of the things I will say about this is the cobblestone streets here are beautiful. I mean, I feel like when you're downtown Charleston, it's like being on a movie set. And it's shocking that people actually do live there. And it's wild because sometimes when I'm down there, I'm just like, it just catches you off just how beautiful the landscaping is. Some of these houses are so historic and beautiful. You really get caught up in it. And so if you're thinking to yourself, like, do they shoot movies here? Guess what? Spoiler, yeah, it's both. They do. They sure do. Lots of them. People live there and they shoot movies there. And I don't know how the people live there deal with that kind of crazy. So you let me know in the comments. All right, moving on. Letter D. Yeah, moving on to the big D. Dining. What did you guys think I was gonna say, huh? So the food scene is elite here. And that's one of the things I personally love. I'm a foodie. I mean, the shrimp and grits will absolutely ruin your life. My wife can't even go anywhere else in the country and have shrimp and grits because she's like, oh, this is not Charleston. This isn't good. And I'm like, okay. And then I'll try something. I'm like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing I've ever tried. You're going to gain 10 pounds. Just start referring to biscuits as a love language. I mean, biscuits here, Vicious Biscuit. I mean, that's a game changer. That changed your life. I mean, if you're depressed, have a Vicious Biscuit. Come out of there and tell me you no longer need like an SSRI, because it's a total life changer. And you have to watch out for the brunch wait list. Now, this is something I had to learn. Didn't realize how big brunch was here, people. Okay, it's a pretty big deal. Well, if you just think you're gonna roll into someplace and get brunch, you got another thing coming, because Charleston people will wait 2 hours for a $16 mimosa and Instagrammable eggs Benedict. And let me tell you, those mimosas, they're bottomless. Completely. So 16 bucks. That's why there's a wait list. All right, moving on to E. Yes, E, education. So it's a mixed bag here sometimes. And some schools are just nationally ranked and others feel like they were last updated during the Civil War. So do your homework. And no. Zillow ratings do not count, okay? You really need to do your due diligence. This is something I talk to a lot of parents about. You can't just expect, you just can't expect and go, oh, okay, this school is good, so this one's gonna be good. No. And don't take it from Zillow. Zillow is inaccurate, like almost always. But that aside, you just want to make sure it fits and aligns with your values. I mean, my wife and I are making some pretty big changes to our daughter's school this upcoming year. And for a lot of reasons why maybe other people are also doing the same. So keep that in mind. You might find yourself thinking one way, but you might want to go the other. So again, do your due diligence and research. All right, letter F. F is in go. Flooding. Flooding is what I was going to say. You will 100% of the time hear natives say the phrase, "It's dry most of the year." That's code for bring a canoe or get ready to learn how to build an ark. Elevation matters here. Insurance matters here. In the house with the dreamy porch that may be 3 feet underwater during the next tropical storm, it might not be that dreamy. And I gotta tell you, this is something that a lot of you don't think about. When you're moving to a coastal area, you have to remember the flood codes that FEMA puts out really do dictate what your insurance is going to look like and whether or not you're going to have to carry flood insurance. Do I think you should? Absolutely. If you're not required to carry it, it's relatively inexpensive over the cost of, having to replace your entire home. But that all being said, it's something that I think you should have, even if you're not required to have it. All right, coming up on G. So G is for growth, and it's growing fast here. Like, this used to be a cow field that I'm standing in, and now it's a Costco. Yeah, that fast. And don't worry. If you're concerned about traffic, you're gonna lose that shortcut that you found 6 months ago. It'll be over. And your peaceful street may soon have a Starbucks drive-through next to it. So get ready, because zoning is wild. Wild. They're building a car wash behind this one guy's house. I'm not joking. I literally drove by it the other day and was like, are they serious? That's this guy's backyard. That's that guy's backyard. Like, are they really gonna put a car wash in there? Yes, they are. So when you think about, where you're moving to and what's happening, there's a lot of growth here, and it's not slowing down. It's not stopping anytime soon, especially in areas like Mount Pleasant, Somerville. I mean, these areas are blowing up. Johns Island is another one. And we'll talk about traffic in a little bit, but growth's crazy right now. All right, H is for hurricanes, and well, they come with names and will leave with your roof, kind of like your ex-wife. Hurricane season, though, runs through June through November. And yes, locals will still throw a barbecue during Category 1 hurricanes. I'm not joking. Prep kits should include flashlights, batteries, and liquor. Because honestly, those are the things you're probably going to want during the storm, especially when the electricity goes out, if it goes out. And that all depends on where you live. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in the other part of this video, so don't go anywhere. All right, so now I is for islands. So each island's like its own ecosystem. So you got Daniel Island, which is like La Crosse and Lululemon. John's Island has chickens, breweries, and a guy named Tucker who sells fresh eggs and fish by the highway. And James Island is the chill stoner cousin. Yeah, learn the vibe before you move. Good points. Now, I will say this. The islands are all different and they're all special and they all come with different price tags. Especially when you start looking at things like Folly Beach. Now, some people are always like, Ryan, we want to live on the beach. I'm like, do you? Mm-hmm. You want to be on the beach or you want to be across the street? Because it's 1.7 across the street, but it's 3.4 on the beach. And then the phone usually goes dead and I don't hear from them ever again. So there's that. But there's one way on, one way off. So it's technically, that place is an island. Now let's talk about the big J, jobs. So you have major employers here, including Boeing, Volvo, Mercedes-Benz Vans, Google, MUSC, and I mean, an entire wedding industry is here. I mean, if you're remote, you're golden. And if you're not, expect to do something in healthcare, customer service, law enforcement, teaching, or learn how to sell someone a drink. Because those are the jobs that are blowing up here because we have a crazy service industry. You got tons of hotels, tons of restaurants, tons of bars, and then add on all of the different businesses that do customer service. I mean, you have multiple different variations of that. Law enforcement is always needed, and teachers. I mean, teachers, we need so many teachers. And then you think about how many people are moving here in the medical industry, and the fact that it takes 4 months to get a basic appointment with your doctor. I mean, that's why the jobs are absolutely on fire here, because there's a demand. There's a demand for jobs. So if you're someone watching this and you're like, hey, I'm thinking about a career change, well, you might want to consider something looking in Charleston or the surrounding area. All right, moving on. Letter K, kids and family life in Charleston. So this is an absolute great place for families. If your kids can survive mosquito season and being in the car for 90% of their childhood, parks, sports leagues, splash pads, galore. But just don't expect childcare to be cheap. And that's one thing that my wife and I had to learn when we relocated here. The prices for babysitters, for quality babysitters, is much higher because there's such a demand. There's so many parents here, so many families, and there's not enough babysitters anymore. And it's coming off of COVID. That was hard to find a babysitter. And so even now they have nanny websites. So Charleston has a great Facebook for nannies. There's tons of Facebook pages for nannies, babysitters, all that great stuff. Even dog, someone to take care of your dog. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe you have a puppy or a cat and you just need somebody to come over and watch or take it for a walk. They have Facebook pages for that as well. So yes, it's great. You just have to realize that, going out every Friday and Saturday night might be difficult or expensive. And then, mosquitoes here, they're a big deal. We've got flies as well. My kids they go crazy when they see mosquitoes or flies. They just want to kill them. And then being in the car, that's probably the one downside. So if you live in a area like Somerville and you want to commute downtown, 35, 45 minutes. When we go to the beach, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on what time we leave. So again, that all plays into, the overall lifestyle. But I'll tell you what, my kids, when we're in the car and we're in there for more than 45 minutes, they're passed out by the time we get to wherever we got to go. So you actually get a little bit of quiet time. I will say that. So pro there. All right, moving on. L, lifestyle. No, not that lifestyle, you weirdos. So flip-flops are acceptable everywhere, almost everywhere, just not Paul's. So you're going to kayak in the morning. You'll hit a brewery in the afternoon. And by end of the day, you're going to be eating tacos on the pier. It's like retirement, but with more sunscreen and slightly less bingo. So the lifestyle here is absolutely incredible. If you're somebody to take advantage of everything life has to offer, then Charleston has most of everything that life has to offer. You've got great concerts, outdoor events, indoor events, air-conditioned events. You have shopping, you have coastal views, you have everything, fishing, boating life. You want to go watch the sunset, go see dolphins, go see manatee. I mean, the list really does continue to go on, and I could keep naming it, but the lifestyle here is incredible. And there's always something to do. Every week is jam-packed with events. There isn't a weekend that doesn't go by where I'm not getting FOMO. You can ask my wife. I sometimes literally I'm like, we need to be at like 4 out of the 10 of these events. And she's like, we are not going to 4 of these events this weekend. Pick one. And I'm like, ah. So, again, there's a lot to do here, and that plays into the amazing lifestyle. All right, moving on. M for medical care. So MUSC, the Hospital of the Medical University of South Carolina, absolutely amazing, world class, love it. Roper and Trident are solid choices as well. You're gonna have access to great care no matter where you live in Charleston, whether you're in Somerville, whether you're in Johns Island, especially if you injure yourself doing something dumb on a boat one weekend that you shouldn't have been out on a boat and fishing. Forget my problems, which statistically will happen if you weren't supposed to be doing something you were supposed to be doing. I think I got that right. Anyways, long story short, the medical care here is fantastic because 45 minutes later and a few stitches, boom, we were out the door. And I don't know who I'm talking about, but that person probably should have told his wife what he was doing. All right, moving on. N for nightlife. So you've got King Street, which is like your classy cocktails up top, rooftop area, and then Chaos and Flip Flops by 11. Charleston's nightlife it ranges. It ranges from rooftop lounges to dive bars. And they even have a honky tonk. And let me tell you, that guy, the DJ at the honky tonk, does not play the cha-cha slide. Well, he plays it, but you got to ask him like 400 times. And when your wife's had a few drinks and she wants to hear the cha-cha slide, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. But its nightlife is incredible. You do have some very New York City style luxury lounges / bars / dance clubs, whatever you want to call them. And then you do have the spot where you can just go hang out, grab a beer, grab a brew, and just talk to the guy next to you who's probably wearing, some fishing gear from earlier in the day. So again, there's really a great vibe in Charleston. So if you're looking for somewhat of a nightlife atmosphere, you can't go wrong with our city. All right, moving on to O, outdoor living. So boating, biking, fishing, hiking. Charleston is basically a playground for adults who still pretend to be active. But if you can't find something to do outside, that's a you problem, because the amenities here are incredible. Everything from your neighborhood pools to the beach. There's something for everyone. Personally, I like to go out and do some fishing sometimes. Some boating is great. So, things out on the water, there's a lot to do. And if you're an outdoor person, think about it. You've got the mountains only 3 hours away, so you can go do all your mountain hiking if that's something you want to do. They always have that big skate park there up in Rock Hill, the bike BMX park. So again, if you're somebody who you have this outdoor lifestyle, Charleston is a fantastic place to move to. All right, moving on to P, the one that everybody loves, politics and culture. Yeah. So it's a weird blend here. You got everything from bow tie wearing old money conservatives to granola burning progressives. And somehow everyone still ends up drinking bourbon on the same porch. But that's the lifestyle here. You're not going to find people actively pursuing arguments over who's better, whose side's better. It's really more about like, hey, did you have a great day today? Wasn't it beautiful out? How are you? How's your family? Okay, everyone seems to just get along. And that's kind of what you want out of an area when you're moving to it. Now, are there some people who are out there protesting, throwing up their fists, doing all that kinds of stuff? Yeah, absolutely. But let me tell you, it's a lot less here with the open carry law. Yeah, nobody's standing in front of cars here because, let's just say, stand your ground is a real thing. You will FAFO. You know what I'm talking about. All right, now let's talk about Q. That stands for quirks. And boy, there are a lot. And you'll see pineapples everywhere. They mean welcome or something else if they're upside down, depending on how weird your neighbors are. And really, you can pick your friends, but you can't pick your neighbors, unfortunately. Also, people wave at everyone here. And so if you're moving from New York or New Jersey, remember, it's all 5 fingers now. All 5, count them.
Meaning?
And if that freaks you out, then I'd say adjust quickly, because you won't be here long. They will politely somehow get you to want to leave. And I don't know how the Southerners do it, but if you don't adapt, they're going to be super polite about it. It's going to be something like, oh, bless your heart, you know, your home would sell really well. Don't you miss the North? Yeah, I bet you do. I know somebody that can get your home listed for a great price. And somehow they're nice about it, and they somehow get you out of the way. I don't know. But yeah, so if you're moving here, just be nice to everybody, wave and smile. That's all you got to do. All right, moving on to R. Let's talk real estate, right? It's competitive. Some inventory is lower in certain areas. It's a buyer's market. So if you're someone looking to relocate and buy here, this is the best time, because there is a lot of negotiation. Prices are coming down. And I'll tell you what, that dream home that you've been looking at for a while may just have that price drop that's got you dropping an offer next week. Hire someone who knows what they're doing. Hi, that's me, Ryan. Buy from Ryan. Yeah, that's me. All right, moving on to letter S, Somerville. This is where Charleston sends families that want space, schools, and still afford groceries. It's 40 minutes from downtown. Now, that's if there's traffic on the 26, roughly about 25 minutes to downtown from the Somerville I-26 exit. So it's about 25 minutes from there. But again, as I mentioned, longer if someone is on the I-26 and decides to, you know, barrel roll into a bunch of cars and create a massive accident, shutting the entire thing down for about 4 weeks. But it is still one of the fastest growing areas in the region. So if you're looking for a great place to live, Somerville is it. And affordable. And gives you more space than Charleston. And certainly Mount Pleasant. So yeah, Somerville. All right, moving on. Letter T, traffic and transportation. TT. There's no train, right? There's no Charleston train. Barely any buses. I mean, we have CARTA, but that's okay. You're driving, right? So it's you. You're probably going to have a car unless you live in a very walkable area or golf cartable area, but you're going to mostly be driving. And if there is an accident on the 26, Nexon Parkway, 17, State Road, just go ahead, unpack your lunch, invest in a podcast, hold on to some patience, maybe a golf cart come by and save you. That's what you can hope for, but you're going to be there for a while. And it just happened to me the other day. I was in traffic for over an hour and 20 minutes. And it was because a truck decided to smash into a guardrail sideways, blocking off the rest of the highway with all of the debris from the truck and trailer. So that was fun. It took them a while to get that bad boy moved, and boy, did it back up the 26 all the way to downtown Charleston. That was fun. So yes, traffic can be a little crazy here, but again, it's not New York, and that's the best part. All right, going on to letter U, utilities and infrastructure. Now, utilities here, pretty solid, yeah. Don't be surprised though if the power blinks every once in a while. Nothing crazy, but most of Charleston, most of Mount Pleasant, Johns Island is starting to go from having actually utility poles to going to underground electric, which is fantastic. So you do have these like little dropouts every once in a while. And during a big storm, yes, you will lose power, possibly. Now, Wi-Fi here is actually pretty decent. We have Home Telecom, which is the local mom and pop, and then you have Spectrum. You have a bunch of different service companies, so you just kind of got to figure out which is going to be the best for your neighborhood because they're all a little different. Now, water bills, they vary. It just depends on how much you use irrigation, don't have irrigation, how much you use water, you have a pool, all those good things. In some places, we'll still do trash pickup like it's 1993. And Ryan, what do you mean by that? We're going to be there Tuesday. When do they show up? Thursday. And then the following week, Monday, so you don't have your trash out. So yeah, that's always fun. But it does happen, so you should be aware of that. All right, moving on to letter V, visitors and tourism. So Charleston hosts 7+ million visitors a year. No joke, 7+ million visitors a year. Most of them will try to parallel park a car in a compact rental SUV while filming on TikTok. So yeah, the traffic can be a little bit frustrating downtown Charleston. Pro tip though, avoid Market Street after 11 a.m. because I'm telling you, it's like playing Frogger, and there is a lot more frogs than there are cars. Also, it might be a bit frustrating for out-of-town guests who don't understand how driving downtown works. It is a little bit different, and the streets are smaller and thinner. And I gotta tell you, I've seen people just kind of lose their shit, and so it does happen. So sometimes you got to let your visitors know, like, hey, maybe you should let me do the driving downtown. All right, moving on. Letter W for weather. Oh yeah, humidity is relentless. I am sweating as I'm standing here. I'm in air conditioning, okay? Storms, yeah, we have storms, lots of them. It's called tropical storm season. And it's daily in the summer, right? At 2 o'clock every day, God's just like, hey, you need your lawn watered? I got you, buddy. Here you go. So that happens on a daily in the summer. Now, winters, they're mild and glorious. Fall and winter feel like a really cool and nice summer, while spring feels like a beautiful summer, right? And then summer, well, summer is just hot. Just know though, your hair and your attitude will both suffer in July and August. So welcome to the humidity. All right, moving on. X, letter X. Yes, for X Factor. You can't fake it. Charleston has that something that people just love. I'm going to be honest. X marks the spot. It's why my wife and I and my family moved here. I mean, no, it wasn't the smell of the pluff mud that just pulled us in. The charm of the locals was one of it, you know, and the schools and the cost of things. That's what drew us here. And then you just add all the additional things, and like, I mean, people are so friendly. They call you like sweetheart or sir, you know, you just get all these fun names, and it's just nice. And it's a change of pace that is very much welcomed in my eyes. And the fact that everyone still waves, even when you cut them off. Like, they're like, yeah, thanks for cutting me off. I'm gonna flip the bird at you because you probably got a gun and I don't want to die. So again, I'm saying there are pros here. So X for X Factor. X marks the spot, people. All right, next letter is Y for you. Your next steps. What should you do? Well, you can wing it, right? You can just wing it, hope for the best. Or you can book a call with me and not end up buying a termite buffet with foundation issues. Listen, I've got guides, I've got plans, I've got a whole system that's a 1, 2, 3 step to relocating here. And listen, I got a mildly charming sense of humor. So let's talk. All right, we've come to the last letter in our alphabet A to Z of moving and living in Charleston, South Carolina. And for Z, we're gonna talk zoning and HOAs. Want a pink front door? You better check first. Want to build a fence for your emotional support goat? Better check your HOA on both of those. That might require a 3-month approval process and a neighborhood vote, to be honest with you. HOAs in Charleston don't play. And let's just be honest, they're gonna send you a fine any chance they get. Usually the first one, it's like a warning. They're like, hey, don't do this again, otherwise we'll break your legs. And then the other one comes and it's like, hey, we told you we were gonna break your legs. Now we're gonna break your wallet. So here's a $1,000 fine. So that's some HOAs. And I know they seem scary to a lot of you. They're not all that crazy. They're not all that bad. I am probably talking on the worst case scenario of a neighborhood that I can think of where the HOA is out of their mind. But on other side of things, there are HOAs that are a little bit more understanding, and there's non-HOA neighborhoods. So you have options. All right, folks, if you've learned something today, or at least laughed once, do me a favor, click that like button like you're smashing a palmetto bug dead. Subscribe if you don't want to end up with a $1,000 flood insurance bill and no one to blame but yourself. Hey, I could have helped you. And if you're serious about making Charleston home, well, I can help. Let's keep it real, local, and stress-free. Want more honest takes like this one? Click this video right here. I promise it's just as good, maybe even a little less sweaty. Maybe.